Well, what's going on? It is Friday morning, and this is starting your day with intention. And I have this little number that I found when we were unpacking. I forget where we got this a couple celebrations ago when they handed these out. You plus two, them plus two. The big number two. So by a raise of hands, how many people on this call listened to Tony last night? How many people listened to Tony? Good, 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 good. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about a lot of things. There's so much to get to. This is the best week ever, okay? And that has to be a reality. That's just, it's not a TV show. It's not just fun to say it. Unless that is in your mind right now, every day when you wake up thinking this has to be the best week ever, what does that mean? Well, I want to ask you guys a question. Tony said something last night, trying versus doing. He goes, there are a lot of people trying this business, but there are very few people who are doing it. And that makes a lot of sense because I think, in my opinion, and we'll talk about this, that it sounds great to everybody. It sounds great. But I don't think that you guys, and this is not a knock, I don't think that you guys, many of you are really grasping the reality. Because I think if you really would sit down and grasp the reality, then we wouldn't need to do a best week ever because every week we would be working with intention. What do I mean by grasping the reality? Some of the things I just can't put into words. I don't want to talk about my life. I want to talk about other people. So people like Jimmy Smith, who started this company. Let's grasp this reality and really think, guys. Jimmy Smith has, I think, 25 grandchildren, maybe more. He might have upwards of 35 grandchildren. And Jimmy Smith gets on stage and goes, my grandkids will never, ever have to take out a student loan to go to college. That's what I want you to grasp when I talk about between trying and doing, between this business and succeeding sounding great and being a reality. Having someday 25 to 30 grandkids and never having them to take a student loan to go to college. That's a legacy, okay? What about this? How about living in a place? How many people right now are living in a place maybe because they were born there and that's where they stayed, or that's where their job is and that's where they have to stay, versus living in a place where you would want to be, like living somewhere where it said on the map, this is where I want to go. This is where I want to stay. This is where I want to try out. What if I just want to try it? I might not like it. What if I want to live in Hawaii? Might not like it. Want to try it though. You could do this. So doing things versus reality. What does this company afford you? We talk so much and it all sounds so good, but unless it's hammered into your head, unless you could really start to feel, taste it, then it's just like this little thing that's way off in the distance. And you're thinking, man, that would be cool someday. Just like when you were a kid, it would be cool to be a rock star, or it'd be cool to be a professional sports player or an actress. And then what happens is you're like, that's not really reality. Well, the fact of the matter is that's pretty tough, right? To do those things. Not a lot of people are rock stars. Maybe we know somebody that grew up and they made it into the movies, or they made it onto a professional sports team. But this is isogenics where everybody has an equal chance. So we have to start talking about this. Let's get it in our head. What about this? How many of you guys have parents right now who are getting older, or maybe they're older, and those parents did everything for you growing up and you just want to give back to them, right? You just want to provide for them. You want to do things for them. Yeah, Shannon, that they did for you. Now, we see baseball players and basketball players do this all the time, right? They get a big contract and I bought my mom a house. I told my mom she could retire. She worked her butt off for me. Maybe she was a single mother. Maybe, maybe my parents did everything for you and you just want to give back to them. There's not a lot of people who have the opportunity to do that. The reality is you do have an opportunity to do that. When you think about what Tony said last night, and as we start to discuss this morning, I want to get deeper into our conversations. I want to really fire you guys up. This is Friday. We have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of the best week ever. Okay? We have 3 more days to make an impact on people. Tony last night sounded like a preacher at times, but he's been doing this for a while. His first commission check was $7. They were going to foreclose on his house when he started this business. His car was about to be repossessed. His wife came home and he said, how do we afford this? Why would you even sign up for something like this? He faced adversity. All of us right now are facing some type of adversity, but our backs aren't against the wall. You know, sometimes you ever see a dog that's a nice dog, and like, that's a nice dog, but until that dog's back's against the wall, you're not going to hear him growl. You know, people need to wake up every day thinking that this could be the day that I make my breakthrough, or this could be the day that I go backwards. What do you guys operate out of? Because I always tell people, you know, sometimes we're motivated by things that are great, and sometimes we're motivated by fear. Fear's not such a bad motivator. Sometimes people are motivated by seeing other people do it and saying, why is that person doing it? I have every ability that person has, but they're being successful. And when I bring to you people on these calls, when I bring to you people, you know, I bring people like Tony because he's so inspirational, because I've heard him talk so many times. And each time I heard him talk, I say, you know what, I want my team to hear this. And like Tony said at the end of last night's call, he doesn't have to do this. Tony and his wife, he makes 3 of those calls a day. 3 a day. He gave you guys his freaking personal cell phone number at the end of the call and said, I will call you back within 48 hours if you call me. Do you realize how crazy and nuts that is? He just gave a conference call of 80 people his personal cell phone number and said, if you call me, I'll call you back within 48 hours. The guy's 68 years old, and he takes 3 conference calls a day like that. And he doesn't have to do it. He's that passionate. So when he's saying all that, when you hear about all the money he's made, when you hear about the success he's had, you know, you can't look at him and say, geez, you know, he thanked us because we're all his downline. But that's how this business works. So if you feel at all guilty about your downline helping you be successful, get rid of that out of your head. If you feel like you can't do it, get that out of your head. You know, that's why I talk to you about people like Hillary Courtney, who lives in freaking some town in Missouri. I don't even know the name of it. Okay. It's such a small town. I don't even know the name of it. And her husband have built a freaking castle there. Now that's where they choose to live, right? They just built, if you go on Hillary Courtney's Facebook page for last year, her husband, and he's built it mostly with his bare hands, but they built a freaking castle in this really tiny town. And when I say castle, I mean, it's just a big house in this really tiny town in Missouri. Okay. Now her husband will tell you he's still one of the most frugal people on the face of the earth. He laughs about it. He's just a good old country boy, Justin Courtney. I love him. Those of you guys that are coming to the Rise Up Challenge out here, you're going to get a chance to meet Justin, one of the most genuine, down-to-earth people you'll ever meet in your life, right? Owns a freaking gun store. He's country as country gets. He wears jeans and cowboy boots. They make over $1 million a year, almost 2, I think. But here's the thing. If you guys didn't hear Hillary Courtney, she was on our call about a year ago. I remember when we had the call because we were up in New Jersey visiting Angelique's mom. Hillary Courtney, for 3 years of her life, every Monday night, drove about an hour and 15 minutes to do a Monday night opportunity meeting. Every Monday night. An hour there and an hour back. So when we talk about dedication, when we talk about, well, I'm working hard. No, you got to think about it. That's why I want you to discuss right now. I want you all to think about your dreams, what's going to motivate you, and then I want you to think about, is it a reality or does it just sound nice? Because if it just sounds nice and you just keep it there on your shelf and every once in a while you go over and you shine it off and you make it nice and bright and you get the dust off it, but you're not really doing anything, then guess what? You're going to be in the same position in a couple of years from now. I think the worst thing that we could ever think of right now, and let this motivate you, is look at everybody on the screen and look at the people who either came on at the same time as you or after you. And then let's go into your head right now and think 5 years into the future or 10 years into the future. And you kind of gave up on your dream and you kind of just pushed that down the road a little bit and you gave it, 25, 50%. Maybe once in a while you gave it 75, 80%, but you really didn't give it your all. You didn't give it everything you had in your heart. And then you look 10 years down the road and one of the people on the screen did give it everything. And they're talking about a life of their dreams. They're in that place where they want to be. And you think, damn it, I had the same opportunity that they did. Like Tony said, everybody has it. The company, he didn't have anything, didn't have any tools. He didn't have any crystal bonuses. He didn't have any, there was no executive match. There was 4 freaking products in a 9-day cleanse, and everybody at the beginning tells you it basically tasted like shit at the beginning. They didn't have this formulator coming out with pina coladas. a shake and Cleanse for Life that people said, look, I know it's going to suck, but take it and you're going to lose weight and you're going to feel great. So people did. Imagine how hard it was to sell that. Imagine how many people said, well, I'm going to return it or I'm not going to order again. Now we got formulators making pina colada shakes. We got all kinds of products out there for AMP. The question is, this is the best week ever. You know, it's 6:30 out here on the West Coast, and I woke up about 15 minutes ago and I was tired. You know, and I had to get fired up for this call, but it's not hard to, because I see all you guys on the screen. And like Tony says, I love each and every one of you. You know, some of you guys I'm contacting personally. I'm saying, what are you going to do? When are you going to wake up? When are you going to take advantage of this? And I don't want to push anybody, but part of my job is to push you. Part of my job as a leader is to say, wake your ass up and do the do and stop playing small, because you have an opportunity in front of you you're not taking advantage of. Now, look, I need that too. You know, we have Chris, we have Tony. When these people talk to us, we need to get fired up. But this could be the best week ever. This could be where you make a decision to change it. Again, think of having 25 grandchildren one day and not having to take out a student loan. Think of being able to say, this is where I want to live. You know, Chris and Lori, it's funny because Chris and Lori Harder lived in Minnesota. Now, God bless Minnesota because the people are friendly and I love it. But we just went up there a couple of weeks ago and it was freaking 55 degrees and raining. So when Chris and Lori, they went to go visit Santa Monica, and they said, we're just gonna rent a house out here for a month. And a month turned into 6 months, and then 6 months said, we're never coming back, because that's where they want to live. Now, personally, I'm not a California guy. I visited there and I love it, but that's not my place. I love Arizona here, but I think I want to eventually be in a ranch somewhere in Colorado, or I want to go to Wyoming. I want to be on the outdoors. I want to have a big piece of property with horses. That's my dream. And I would know each one of you have a dream. And so much of what Tony did last night, like I said, he sounded like a preacher. And sometimes what we do is we get on these rants and we talk about this, but the motivation, like he says, the system is there. It works. The tools are there. The people are out there. The only thing that is needed is the daily motivation to get up and say, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. I always talk about the book I read about Kobe Bryant. I hated Kobe Bryant. I still don't like him really as a person. But I read this book and I said, whoa, the reason why I got to respect this guy is because his work ethic is through the roof. You know, when he got drafted, all those guys went out and partied, and he went and shot baskets the night of the NBA draft because he had that kind of work ethic. And everybody, when they went to his kind of retirement thing, and he went around his last game for every stadium, even the people that hated him in Boston, right? They gotta cheer him because they just realized that, you know, you gotta respect somebody's work ethic. You know, if we look back in history, you see the people like, unfortunately, like Stalin and Hitler and the dictators in the world, and you think to yourselves, wow, if they would have just took that passion and their brains and made it for something good, you know. Because as sad as it is, and Lord knows, I mean, Hitler, I think, is the devil, or partly. But, you know, here's a guy that was driven and was obviously had some kind of magnetism. People followed him. He was a great orator. I don't want to pump him up, but think about whether if he could have took that and had a in his heart to do good. Imagine all those people that followed him if he would have said, no, love your neighbor, love Jewish people. Let's all work for a better cause. He used hate to get his message across. We use love, and we have to, like Tony said, you have to love on people every day. Now, here's a 68-year-old guy that, and this is the last thing I'll say, and I want to get your comments, but here's a 68-year-old guy that benches over 400 pounds. And, you know, I've seen him in the gym, so he's not bullshitting anybody. He's not just telling you that. He's a tough dude. Right? But he's full of love. And last night he cried on the call. You know, we didn't know, I never heard him cry. I didn't know that was coming. And I was kind of shocked and I didn't know what to do. And Angelique and I looked at each other, and he, at the end of the call, he called us back after we hung up with you guys, the team. And he said, I just want to thank you for letting me be on the call and talk to your team. And he said, I'm sorry if I got emotional. He goes, but I just do. I still get emotional. He goes, it means that much to me. You know, and you can't fake that. You can't fake that. So I've been blessed to be around these people, and I know that's why events are so important, because you need to meet them. You know, when Tracy got on this call a couple weeks ago, You saw Tracy, and she's so freaking passionate, and she's so over the top, full with love, and wants to help people. So we have to realize that that's the key. You know, get a clue. You guys are all intelligent. So when I bring these people on and they're all millionaires, they're all making money, but they're all leading with one thing, and that's love. And they all say how much they love you and want to help you and serve you. You know, that's not by mistake. It's not a coincidence. So let's think about these things right now. Let's talk. Let's have a great conversation, because this is Friday. I want you guys to look at where you're at. Look at your cycles. Look at where you're at. How many people? Who are you leading? Who are your babies, like Tony says, that you brought into the company that you have to spend time with and cast this vision into? He talked about passion. He spoke with passion. What are we going to do, not just today, but every day, to wake up like this and say, this is our gift. We can live like people can't live because we have it. And when he told Tony last night, Angelique and I said, sometimes we feel like we just want to shake the world and say, look at what's happened for us. You know, what if we never found out about network marketing? You know, what if we never said yes to Chris and Lori? I mean, our lives before we thought we're good. It's like you live in this bubble and you don't know what reality can be like. So sometimes that's safe, but then you get a little taste of it and someone opens a window for you and they show you what life can be like. And you're like, wow. So whether you're a parent, whether you're single, whether you're young, you're older, what you have to do is look in your window and say, what can you do with this opportunity? What can you do? So what can you guys do? What did you guys think about Tony? And what can you do? Let's hear from you guys. Leaders lead. Break the ice.
Okay, dude. So,
there we go.
I was very compelled by that call last night. He was amazing. I've read stuff that he wrote, but just hearing his voice, first of all, he sounded nothing like what I expected. So it was so crazy for me to listen to him talk. But shoot, I'm one of those that's been playing small for the longest time, and I still am uncomfortable. You know, I still am. You know, my main thing right now is I have to take myself into places because I have no comfort. I can't bring anyone into my home. So I definitely have to knock on doors. You know, I had a call with PK a couple months ago, and he insisted that, you know, we step out of our comfort zone and go into a gym or a chiropractic office and just offer, which is what we do. We just offer the opportunity to look into what we have, and in hopes that they will say, yes, we can only ask, you know, you can only get one or two answers, yes or no. And so I have no choice now.
Yep.
That's what he said to me last night.
Yeah. So, you know, he talked about the 10 people. He said, if you talk to 10 people a day, he said, you know, you probably get 10 rejections the first couple of days, but you're going to learn. And that's the key. That's the fear, you know, like the first time everybody stepped on the dance floor, you know, I remember this is going to age me. I was at a Optimist dance for a football, and I was in 8th grade, and they played Jefferson Starship. You guys, some of you don't even know what that is. Mary Chandler and some of the other people help me out here. Jefferson Starship. And I was dancing. I was just doing the side clap, you know, like clanging the ankles back and forth. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any rhythm at the time, or maybe I did, but I just didn't bring it out. And now I'll be the first one out there, and I love dancing, but I sucked at it for a while. And we're going to suck at our conversations for a while. But once we do them, then it becomes easier. Did anybody know, guys on the call, did anybody know that guy back in high school or college that just had an easy time talking to ladies? And we envied him, but he probably sucked at first. But he did it, and he got rejected so many times. He never talked to girls in fear of rejection because he was just comfortable. And that's what happens. And I saw Lisa. Now, Lisa is from Ryan Engelbert's team. So she's not in our downline. And we invited Ryan Engelbert. Well, she's on our team, but on another section. So we're not financially really linked. And when I saw something in Lisa, her passion, and I saw her kids, and I saw it, and I see something in all of you guys. But what we need is, I asked Lisa, I called her out. I said, we need to take you to the next level. I'm not critiquing you, Lisa. I told her that. I'm not saying what you're doing is good or bad. I'm just saying I need you to be a larger version, because I know your dreams are huge. And I know you can do this because I see something in her that's sincere and beautiful. But you can't show it to the world. Like you have to have the energy and the enthusiasm, the passion. No one's going to buy from you because they see you have 2 kids and they feel like they want to help you out. They're going to buy from you because you're going places and doing things and you're living a life that they want to live. So we have to have the take whatever's inside. If it's painful, if it's scary, take it inside and flip it out and turn yourself inside out and always be positive and always show people. And when you get into the conversations after a while, then you could bring out that side that says, this is why I'm doing it. This is what's happening. But people are going to be attracted to, what did Tony say? Your smile. Your people are going to be attracted to your smile. So when you're on camera, when you're on your Facebook page, it's not about woe is me. It's not the sad stories. Every once in a while, there's a spot for that. It's more about, look, smile. Life is here. I'm going to take it by the horns. I'm going to do good things. I'm going to make a difference in people's lives. And you know what? Like I said before, be so unapologetically passionate and enthusiastic that even if it's a no, that they have to turn around and say, wow, I didn't want to do that, Lisa, but man, I tell you what, you are passionate about that, because that's what's going to get them to come back later on. I had some people recently, it was Taylor that was telling me there was a guy and he just doesn't get it. And the guy's on a terrible system and he's taking the calories that he's eating is just not enough. And the guy doesn't get it. And Taylor's frustrated. And I said, dude, we've been there before. And the only thing you can do is just say, brother, I'm here for you when you need it. Because if you leave the door open and you're sincere and you lead with your heart, it might not happen that day. But those are the people that come back to you in a month or 2, or maybe a year or 2 and say, dude, you were right, man. I really had to hit rock bottom before I realized that what you were talking about is right. I do need to eat and feed myself rather than starve myself. So those are the lessons we need to learn. Okay, so it's going to go Christine, Celeste, and Shannon. Go ahead, Christine.
Thanks, David. I just, you stole all my thunder. I wanted to say thanks to Lisa about get out of your comfort zone, go to the chiropractor office. I can't believe I've been doing this a year and I have never even considered just walking into strangers' offices 50 miles from here. So that's next week's plan, I guess. They're not open on the weekend, and David, I've seen you dance, so keep working on that. Anyways, sorry, man. But that Tony call last night, when he started, when he was speaking, I was just doing a couple of things. I was at a ball game. I was driving, but holy man, when I heard him break down in the middle, I almost wanted to unmute myself and say something. I was waiting for you to jump in and move the call forward, but just such an incredible, that's Rena that's on here this morning, I think, and her and I chatted afterwards. And that's why we do this. That's why I started this a year ago, is so that in 5 or 10 or 20 years, somebody's going to put me on a call and I'm going to be able to talk to 20 people or 2 people, and when they hang up, they're going to go, oh my God, it's not about making $8 million, but that's awesome. But these people just woke up. The life, the sky is no longer the limit. Are you kidding me? That's gold. It's no longer the limit. I'm going to put that up all over my house today. And the smile, when he talked about the smile, something clicked in me. I've been wondering, I don't know why I love this job. I don't know why anybody has joined me when they see my real life. But when he said the smile, it kind of clicked, and that in 40 some years, that's my gift to the world. I smile at everybody. You could be cussing me out and at the end of your wits, but I'll give you a stupid grin at the end of it. And that must be part of the magic. So guys, don't undervalue your smile. Even when the insides are breaking, you got to throw those teeth out there and let them grin back at you, wondering why are you so darn happy about what all's going wrong here? So, and I had to say darn because the little people are still here listening. Yeah. So, but I mean, it's everything he said, and just give it. It's worth so much more to give it than to keep it to yourself. You got to, and do it now. Just 90 minutes. I can't summarize in 90 minutes what last night was all about, but holy man, we got 40% of the week left, and I got a lot to get done because we're going to get there. It was just awesome. Thank you guys so much for bringing them to us. That's all I can add today. I don't have any great nuggets. Just that was awesome. Wow.
Well, you know what's so funny is that, after a call like that, or even now it has been less than 24 hours, it's really good to reflect on it. And it's really good to share our thoughts and even write them down, because what happens is you'll forget, remember how you feel. Remember with a couple of things that he said. And one of the things that Angelique and I spoke about yesterday is, and Justin worked with Angelique in the same company. And Angelique and I agreed. We said, how many times in our last job did we ever talk about leadership? Did the word leadership ever come up? Did the word love ever come up? All these key words that are being said by Tony and that we throw around on here all the time. We talk about being a leader and leading with your heart and ultimate success. And in my last job, those words never came up. And Angelique agreed. People talk about quotas and they talk about, making a list. Yeah. But it was more for the company. And it was always the same thing. We're going to up your quota. Why aren't you doing this? And, you're your own boss here. So your quota is whatever you make it. And one of the things I tell people about this company is you get to keep your money. You get to keep more of your money. It just builds and builds and builds. And, when I was in my sales jobs, you have a goal and you have a great week. And then the next week it's like, they forget who you are. And in some respects, it's kind of similar here because, yeah, you have to keep performing each week. But more importantly, this is cool because you get to be the manager. You get to help people grow. Some of you guys come to me and you're frustrated because maybe you haven't signed somebody up in a while. But I'm like, well, is your team growing? A lot of what this has to do is you helping your team and still being able to recruit. Angelique and I want to get 4 people on this week. We want to sign up 4 people at least. That's our goal. But most of it, what we do is we help teach and we help lead and we help get our people. If you help get your people paid, that's what's going to make the difference. You lead with a smile, and you guys are all managers. You guys are all leaders. And if your leadership quality is not up to par, you better get it up to par. The same people are talking on here. I'm going to start calling you guys out because you guys have to start talking. This business is not one for quiet people. You don't have to be loud and boisterous, but you have to be able to voice your opinion. You have to be able to speak up, and you have to be able to articulate yourself, because you can't make a post and just sit back and look at the door and say, no one's knocking. My phone's not ringing. No one sent me a message. I'm waiting for that person. You have to be the light. You have to be strong, Celeste, right? Go ahead. What do you got to say?
Yeah. First off, I just wanted to talk about what you were saying about the leaderships and other jobs, and sometimes you just sit and get recognition. And for me, when I was a teacher, it was the leaders were those who were exactly like the leader. That if you wanted to lead, if you had a different leadership style or a separate leadership theory or philosophy or whatever, you were kicked aside because you didn't fit the mold. So it was kind of like, it was school, but it was kind of like the high school clique. Like only these select people would ever be considered because they did exactly what they were told. And if you disagreed or offered an opinion, which I did, then you weren't considered for a leadership position. And it was very discouraging.
Well, you guys are your own team. You got to realize that. And the only thing that could hurt you guys is as you start to grow, that you start to have little infighting with your upline or downline, and you start to try and control people. You want to lead with love, and you realize that not everybody's going to be just like you. And the only thing that really kills teams in this business is upline and downline fighting. In other words, what are you doing? You're not doing it my way. No. I tell you guys all the time, the only people you're responsible to, you're your own business. If you guys want to shut yourself off to your upline and downline, you can do that as long as you work yourself. Now, it should be the other way around. You all should be helping each other and loving on each other and open to new ideas. But if you are doing this business with your husband or wife, that's what your team is. That's who means the most to you. Joe Kelly's and his wife, Joe Rosner and Kelly Rosner, they have 3 triplets. And I said, that's your team. That's your posse right there. Nobody else matters. Okay? You look at those 3 kids every day, and you look at your wife, Kelly, and you say, this is what we're going to do. Now, you want help from your upline and downline, but you know what? At the end of the day, that's who you're looking at when you're laying your head down in bed. Angelique and I do that all the time. I want you guys to help each other and love each other. But like Celeste says, you have the ability to lead however you want, whatever you're most comfortable with. And she also said something about recognition, okay? Tony didn't say this last night, but he said on another call. Listen to this. Now, Tony said, for guys, you got to get in touch with your feminine side. This business is 75% female. It doesn't mean you have to be a wimp, and go around sipping tea with women. You just have to realize that that's how we love, and that's how, if you love on people, that's how it's going to work. And he also said about recognition, and this is so important. When he said this in the car, I said, hold on, Tony, Angelique, write this down because I was driving. He said, women will climb hills for money, right? He goes, but they'll climb mountains for recognition. Huh? What? And edification, right? So they'll climb hills for money, but they'll climb mountains for recognition and edification. We need to be recognized and edified. Think about the people who have never been told they're doing a good job. And what happens in life, you know, in a marriage, in a job, you get there, and after the first couple of years, you know, you get comfortable. And people are just expecting you to show up and throw your hat back in the ring and do your job, and they don't pat you on the back. And that's why edification and recognition is so important in this business. So when you're frustrated and you're stuck and you're wondering, well, what can I do? I'm having a slow period. Look for somebody in your downline that needs to be lifted up and recognized. Reach your hand out to them. Say, hey, you're doing a good job. Or what can I do to help you? How can we get better at this? Did you have anything else to say, Celeste?
Well, and then just that listening to the call last night with Tony, Christine, I got all like emotional with them. And I reached over and I texted Paula, who signed me up. And I was like, holy shit, are you listening to this? And she was like, I'm crying. And we started texting. And it was just such a great moment just to like bond, you know, with Paula, and just be so grateful that, you know, we're on this journey together, and that we can just totally help and support each other. Yep. As we both grow and learn.
So when you think about that, and you think about all the things that are said, and then I love the fact, because Tony, you know, I trusted him, and I said, oh, once in a while he'd be going off on this thing all about talking all about you know, motivation and stuff, and then he'd come back to the product, and I was like, you know, that's how it's done in a masterful way. And then he started coming back to what about when he started rattling off statistics, and he started telling you about how many people are dying each day of heart disease, how many people have how many amputations from diabetes. That was crazy. He's like 500 people are getting their hands and feet cut off because they're from diabetes. How many surgeries happen each day in the United States? You know, we're going through a very emotional time right now with Angelique's mom. When we were up there in New Jersey, and she goes, can you go get my medicine? And I went in the other room, and I go, I brought out a bucket of prescription medicines that they have her on for cancer. And I was like, no wonder why. I mean, we got to shake our heads. My mom had cancer when I was 8. Thank the Lord she's still alive, you know, and Angie's mom's fighting for her life right now. And all of you guys know people that have cancer. I was watching a thing the other day about a person who was 24 and got it. You know, something's wrong with our food. Something's wrong with our society. So if you need the motivation, we got to remember, we're talking about money right now. We're talking about success, but it always comes down to what's driving us is to help people. And, you know, when there's 8 million surgeries or whatever he says that are going on, and all these people that are diabetics, and how many people are now considered obese and overweight. I mean, Angie and I, every time we go out each day, we at least once a day, we're pinching ourselves going, look at this person. We saw at a red light the other day, and we saw a woman walking her daughter across the street. And the daughter was what, Ange? Maybe 5, 6. And the daughter had the shape just like her mom. I mean, they were at 6 years old. There was no doubt in my mind that this girl was going to be obese, not just a little bit overweight or chunky. And when we were kids growing up in an older era, we always had some kids that were heavy, but now it's an epidemic, you know. And I don't want to point fingers. I know it's hard for some people. Food addiction is real, and I'm not insensitive to that stuff. But we have to realize that what's going on right now is a society that's just eating crap, and they're not exercising as much. And here's what kills me, guys. Here's what kills me. Don't think if you're taking care of yourself and you're thin and you're exercising, or you're managing your weight. I don't want to say thin, but if you're managing your weight, don't think it's not your problem, because you know what? If you guys don't see the financial problem that's coming, that's going to be even bigger. Okay. You can't just look at somebody and go, well, they're overweight, they're going to have a hard time in life. Guess what? That is money out of your pocket. You got to think about every person who's in their 30s or 40s that's getting obese. What's going to happen when they're 50 and 60 and 70? That's going to be too late kind of to turn around the train then. And what happens is they're full of medication. They are the people that are in the scooters, you know, because they can't even walk. So who's paying for that? We're in a society right now that says, okay, do whatever you want, abuse your body, get heavy, and we'll take care of you. We'll give you money to go out. what kills me, and this is I don't want to sound insensitive, but what kills me is when I see somebody in a grocery store and they're so heavy that they have to have a cart, and I see what's in their cart. And I'm like, that's some bullshit. Excuse my French. I'm like, but you know what? If you're that heavy and you're getting government assistance, then the government should be giving you food. And you know what they should be giving you? Fruit and vegetables and lean fish. You shouldn't have frozen foods and potato chips in your cart and someone just saying, here, you're heavy and you can't even walk through the grocery store, but here's some money and go out and buy some more shit that got you heavy. I mean, let's get fired up. I'm not insensitive to it. I have people in my family that are battling weight, okay? And I know it. Believe me, I go into the refrigerator every day and I go into the grocery store. I do a lot of shopping. I know how hard it is when you're tempted with the things that look good and the breads, right? I passed a loaf of garlic bread yesterday in the store and it called my name. I mean, garlic bread sings to me. But look, we've got to take self-responsibility. Our parents did it. Our grandparents did it, okay? People, our older generations, they worked hard. And they knew that they had to work hard. But right now, we're in front of a computer most of the time. We're in front of our phones. We're not out in the fields. We're not doing manual labor jobs. We're not on our feet 8 to 10 hours a day. So it's a lot easier to get heavy. Let's get something done. Shannon, go ahead. Sorry it took so long on that rant.
That's okay. So yesterday it was really kind of a strange day. I had been doing some exercises from Lori Harder's program, and I'm realizing I have to reprogram, redo part of my personality in order to not only to make this work, but because I want to and I need to, and I recognize that, to get kind of some of this toxicity out. Some of that toxicity I realize is me, and I know that's got to change. And I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to do this? And I'm a faithful person, and I was praying, and I put a video up. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I realized I have to do something. And then when Tony was talking last night, and I have it in big bold letters that I outlined, and he said, do you have the audacity to reinvent yourself? And it was like 4x2 to the head. So yes, I do. So it's like he spoke to me, and I feel like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm not quite sure how it's going to work out, but I'm going to find the way to do it. And seriously, I came off of that call with like such a high, and I put up a post about with confidence that I didn't know that I had. I think it was just, I was buzzing from the call still. And I'm just trying to channel into that intensity that whole call had with, everything about not just the business, but the people and the products and what we're all about and helping people. And, my dad's part of those statistics. He was the one that had a heart attack and he didn't make it to the hospital. And, I'm fighting to get rid of diabetes. And it's like, holy shit, there are a lot of people, myself and my family included, that I want to truly help. Yep. And if that's going to be my why, to help reinvent myself, then that's what it's going to be. And that is, I couldn't sleep last night because that's all I could think about. That's all I could think about. So I don't know how I'm going to reprogram this up here, but I do know that it's going to happen because I can't do anything but think about it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the best thing that I've ever heard you say. And you talk a lot on here, Shannon, and I appreciate that, but that's the best thing I ever heard you say. Smack yourself upside the head with a 2x4, have the audacity to reinvent yourself, because you're one of those people that I know is passionate. I've seen you get emotional, and like Lisa, I know you guys are both passionate, and I've seen you get emotional, but I've seen you continue guys to talk about this almost like in this shell about, well, this is my path and it's been hard and and I need you to come out. I need it with a 2x4 saying that was me, but now I'm creating a new path. It's no longer about me. It's about everybody else. It's no longer about, well, I can't get out of my own way. Now it's about, I'm out of my own way and I'm blazing a path. In other words, I need to see that different side from you, some of you guys that have been speaking. And it's been such an emotional outpouring from you about your story and where you've been. And I get it. I understand it. I gravitate to it. I sympathize with it. But I need you to hit yourself upside the head with a 2x4 and reinvent yourself and have the audacity to say, this is new. I need a change. I need a way to show people that I'm different and I'm moving. I always talk to you guys about your story. It has to be evolving. If you're continuing to speak in the same tones, if you're continuing to say, well, this is my life and it's tough and I just want to get a new start, it's not going to work. You have to move forward. I tell my people that are new in the business, you have to scratch and claw your first couple of years. Don't give up. You have to scratch and claw. It's not going to be easy, you know? And I know some of you guys have seen Angelique and I, and you haven't seen the struggle. Nobody saw the struggle in the first year or two. Nobody saw the times where we were handing off our newborn baby and going to different appointments. Nobody saw the times when we were calling people at night and we were tired because we were coming home for our full-time jobs, or we had 48 hours on the weekend from our full-time jobs and we were doing isogenics all weekend. It didn't fall into our lap. And I'm glad you're doing Lori Harder's program, because, you know, Lori's one of those people that's going to inspire you. We all can take it to the next level.
Yes.
What style of success you've had right now, take it to the next level. Go ahead, Shannon. Keep going.
Her program has been amazing for me. And ironically, Lisa and I are both in Ryan Engelbert's line, but I love this group. And I mean, I get something out of everything, but I love this group. And just the fact, you know, I recognize, like, the posts that I've been doing, I'm like, they're kind of like lackluster. And it's like, hey, do you want to do this with me? And I'm like, that's not working. It's no reason,
Right.
no why I'm not making much progress. And so now it's I feel like a different person. It's like, okay, I've stopped with like the long, hey, do you want to consider this? Do you want to look at this? It's like I had 10 no's 2 days ago and I was devastated. And then yesterday after this call, I was contacting as many people as I could. And it's like, okay, on to the next. They're still on my list, but going to the next. I'm like, how many people can I expose to this and at least start planting that seed? And then I'm going to go back and revisit. It's
Okay.
like I was possessed by something else.
Let me give you some help here. So what you need to do, that's great, because you're getting over the fear of contacting people. You realize that you need to speak to them in a different language. That's the one end of the clue. The other end of the clue is continuing your story to develop. So what that means is you're doing Lori's Harder program. The exercises, the best thing you guys can do is be that product of the product. People will, when your words match your actions, when all of a sudden you're talking about this great nutritional company and you're talking about how good you feel and your energy, and then it's matching and people are seeing your face and you're losing weight and you're doing different things and you're out there and, hey, I just did my first 5K, or I just walked, or I just joined a class. And the same thing goes financially. You know, I was talking to Jeremy the other day and I was saying, you know, if you guys win a trip, because he's trying to win a trip, if you guys win a trip and you go on a vacation via isogenics, people are going to see that. It does so much for your business, because you're talking to people about freedom. You're talking to people about going places. But if you're talking to people about freedom and you're talking about financial success and they don't see any financial success, guess what? Your words get lost. So he said, yeah, when we hit Crystal Director, that gave us a boost because people saw that we were achieving, right? You need to continue your story. You need to have the actions and the belief and the conversations and the ability to go out there and contact people. But if your story isn't evolving, remember, we're all in the Truman Show. Remember the Truman Show with Jim Carrey? We're all in that right now. People are watching you. If your story is bland and you've been talking about financial success and physical success and energy, but people are looking at in your little window, your little fishbowl here, and they say, well, that's great, you're talking about it, but I don't see nothing happening. So guess what? I'm not going to join you. You know, we have to have your story. You have to make it. You have to will your story. You have to scratch and claw in those first couple of years and will your story and shape it with your body, with your financial situation. And remember, sometimes those things come slow, but what doesn't come slow is your personal development. So if you're talking differently and you're in your mind and you're reading and you're quoting things, you're saying things, and your energy is different, then people say, hey, that's something that's a big change too. That's what I want to get on. Tiffany, go ahead.
Okay. Hi. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I just wanted to kind of add to a little bit of what Shannon and David were talking about starting with yourself. I'm trying to get to a quiet place. I just walked in the door. For me, it was that journey to redefine myself. And I don't even think I realized I was in the process of doing that when I started Isogenics. I think it has to start with yourself, whether that's intentional or whether that's by accident. I think as leaders, even if you do not have that major transformation on the physical outside, you have to become that light for others to be attracted to. The main thing that I just resonated from that call last night, it was like, people are going to be attracted to you. So what are you attracting? And it's like, for me, it's like, I keep thinking about that. I'm like, the people who are coming to me for this solution are never the people that are really on my list. And it's like, and it just kind of hits me off guard every single time these people reach out to me, because I'm like, I'm attracting the people who are meant to be on this journey with me. And sometimes I keep asking, why are these people saying no? But in reality, I'm not attracting them, and that's okay. But in the process, I'm getting the people who are supposed to be with me. And that's even a better lesson. So for me, I believe that it takes that. You will be transformed in a year from now, whether it's intentional or not, because it's part of the process of, I think, network marketing.
Okay, so perfect. So I love what you're saying, that sometimes the people on your list aren't the ones that are going to come to you. How many people you've had someone on your list and you think this person's going to be great, and they never get it. And then all of a sudden someone bumps into you one day. And I always tell you guys, the people that started with us are not the ones driving our business right now. The ones driving our business are often the ones that we've just met in the last year. Or maybe there are 2 or 3 or 4 PET. They're not our personally enrolled, but they're still driving our business, you know? And Shannon and Lisa are on Ryan's team, but Ryan's part of our team. And every time Ryan and Heidi have done something, it's always been with integrity, and they lead with action. You know, they've come up with so many of their own programs and things because they pour into it. And Ryan runs a whole entirely different business, and she has 3 kids. So they have every right to just coast on Isogenics because they've already done it and coast. But no, with 3 kids and a whole nother business, they're still doing it. And I love what Tony said last night about events. Get your butts to events, because the best thing, and I always said this, and when he said that, I'm like, yes, Tony, that's so right. It's not the people on stage that are going to affect you at the events. It's the people that you meet in the hallways. It's the people that you're having a cup of coffee with next to in the morning. It's the people who are sitting next to you during a break that you're dancing with or that you're talking to. At events, when you go to these events, you're going to meet people that you identify with. I am not that self-centered to think that everybody has to get their energy from me, that everybody of you have to identify with me. I know that. I know that some of you guys will identify with other people better that aren't even on our team. And I want that to happen. You know, I mean, sometimes Angelique and I could say something 20,000 times and it will fall on some of your guys' deaf ears. And all of a sudden someone else for another team will say, and you're like, oh my God, that's the best thing. And Angelique and I always say, we've been down on that for the last 4 years. But it takes somebody else's voice that you identify with. That's why you have to get your people to events. And it doesn't have to be celebration. Lord knows that to get somebody out to Vegas with airfare and all that stuff might be tough. But there's always events in your town. And I got to ask you, I know a lot of you aren't looking on Isogenics events and seeing some of the associate run events that are within an hour from you because you don't want to maybe drive that far. But if you have somebody that you really need to get in the business and there's someone doing an associate run event that's 45 minutes from you, you better pick that person up and say, let's go there. It's worth the drive, because think about what's going to happen on that 45-minute drive home, that you have their ear after they just listen to that, what your dreams and plans could be. You know, sometimes it takes a Hillary Courtney to get through to you. Sometimes it takes a Tony Escobar to say something where it resonates with you. Those are the keys that happen. Floor's open.
Guys, what's going on?
Go ahead, Jeremy, and then we'll go to Nadia.
Awesome. So a couple things, I guess for me, kind of what Tiffany was saying, you know, I'll be the first to admit that hearing that call last night, like I got off the call and I'm like, I don't know what the heck that was, but that was awesome. Like, it's like it didn't sink in, and maybe it's just, honestly, maybe it's just the fact that I'm young and like, I don't realize like what that was, but I'm aware of that. And so, you know, I told Allie, I'm like, I'm going to have to listen to that every day for the next week to really try to get bits and pieces of it. But the one thing that I really did get that just like stuck with me was talking about attraction. And, you know, he said that, you know, this is a business of attraction. And so that just really resonated with me. And it's like, nobody wants to do anything with you if they're not attracted to you. And so recently people that we have sponsored and enrolled, they're like, you know, how do you guys grow your business? And I'm like, you know, what do you post on social media? And I'm like, you have to post stuff that people want to see. People have to be attracted to you. And so just what Tiffany was saying, I think that's awesome. Like you guys have probably heard the law of attraction, and I solely believe in that. I mean, when people are can resonate with you and are attracted to you. They're going to trust you, and that's when they're going to be open to hearing what you have to say. And so we have a member on our team. She works in a bank, and she said yesterday somebody came into the bank and was like, I have 30 grand. What should I do with it? And so they went into what she should do with it. And then, you know, she started to bring up Isogenics, and it's $300. And the lady was like, I don't know about this. She was just super like, nope. And it's like, you just handed me 30 G. Like, what the heck? Are you serious? You know? And so it's crazy, but it just made me laugh. And I'm like, you know, you have to develop that trust. You have to develop that attraction. And so anyways, I guess that, you know, that's something that I got from it. But one thing that I wanted to say too is, you know, Allie and I, this is the honest to God truth. Every morning we wake up, we look at each other and we're like, I don't think we realize how lucky we are. And I tell people that we talk to, like we met with a couple yesterday, and I was talking to them about David, and then we got off the phone, David and Angelique, and got off the phone with Tony. I'm like, I feel bad for everyone else on all the other teams, because this is what I'm talking about, you know, like, and it just really amazed me, and it made me realize how blessed we really are to have the caliber of the leaders that we do, and the people who are willing to just solely invest their time and pour their energy into us. And thinking about the future. So I definitely wanted to say that, David.
Well, thank you. You know, and it comes from, we appreciate that. And it comes from, look at Chris Harder. You know, like, again, Chris Harder, him and his wife, super successful, travels all over the place, doesn't ask for anything. Will do anytime we ask him to do a team call, we'll be on the call, has a lot of side projects going on, but always has time for us people. And he doesn't have to do that. So when you realize that these are the things that make it happen, and I love what Jeremy said, you have to be grateful for where you're at. You know, everybody has their goals set on millionaire, or they have their goals set on a certain rank advance, but you got to wake up every day and be grateful for where you're at, who's on your team. Don't wake up every day and look at your wife and say, you know what, I'm so pissed off because so-and-so isn't doing anything. You wake up and you say, you know what, Allie, I'm grateful because we have so-and-so and they are doing something. You know, when you emphasize the stuff you're grateful for, that's what's going to multiply. If you concentrate on the stuff that's not going right, that's what's going to multiply. What you focus on multiplies. So I love the fact that you got to wake up and say, look, I'm grateful for where we're at. I'm not waking up and saying, hey, we're not at Crystal Executive yet. I'm saying, you know, I'm waking up and saying we're at Director, and I'm grateful for that, and let's go to the next level.
I will say, like, I mean, obviously, you know, our next goal is to hit Crystal Executive, but, you know, we'll wake up, and I don't know, I wish you guys knew, but, like, we'll wake up and we're like, we got 2 cycles, and then sometimes I'm like, dadgummit, like, we need to get 10, but then I look at her, I'm like, babe, that's like dinner, that's like 4 dinners, baby. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about, you know? And so it's just like, you have to be grateful for the 2 or 5 before you can, you know, get to the 20s.
And if you still do that with the cycles, though, if you still do that, remember, I distinctly remember us visiting Chris and Lori in Minnesota and waking up on a Monday morning. It was our first year in the company, and Chris goes, we have 30 cycles on Monday morning. And I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, I couldn't even imagine that. It was just so far off. It's just funny how your mind will change. That just tells you, stick with it and they will grow. If you do the things that are supposed to be done every day, your business will grow. It's not a matter of if or maybe, it will. All right, wrap it up, Jeremy. What were you going to say?
I was going to say the last thing, one thing that I've really comprehended and wrapped my brain around was that you can't have an emotional attachment in talking about reaching out to people. And so a quick story, you guys don't know, but when I met my wife, the way I met her is I just literally walked up to her randomly and told her I thought she was beautiful. That was it. Mm-hmm. And so I was scared, but I was like, you know what can she say? No. And then I just like walk off, like, whatever. It's no big deal, but you have to at least. So sometimes like we'll dare each other, you know, we'll be like, I think we're going to go talk to that person. So just having that, like, not having an emotional attachment really helps, because it's almost like a game. It's like, so what if they say no, you know, right. But they say yes. So.
Well, that's interesting, because so many of us do that. We talk about working every day or working when your back's up against the wall. In other words, how many people do you know, either, if you don't have to raise your hand, it could be you personally, or it could be someone that you know, takes this business very lightly, doesn't really wake up every day with intention, doesn't really spread it until they get really pissed off at work, or their boss makes them stay longer, or they realize they didn't get that promotion. And all of a sudden their back's up against the wall and they're like, now I'm going to do it. The key is not to do it when your back's up against the wall. right? Do it every day so that way you make the decision and not only when you're acting out of desperation. Go ahead, Nadia.
Both just going off of what Jeremy said and what you said, David, and also what Judy always says is about the confidence, and it's all in your posture. So I've gotten a lot from her about that. I mean, even you can fake it, you know, like you have your smile, you know, we all have that confidence. We all have it in us, you know. Even some people say it's hard. I can't. It's what Tony said yesterday, the distraction, fear, and doubt. It's all in our head, you know. So I'm learning, you know, day by day, and I'm progressing. And the law of attraction is real. You know, we attract, I mean, just in my life, like the friends that have come into my life, you know, people that I'm surrounded by great people. And it's because, you know, you attract what, you know, you are, you know. And so I know when I'm going to be doing the business, as I continue on my, you know, I'm sharing it, you know, and I know that, like, even people say, you know, you're really into health and wellness. You should do something with that, like at my job. And I'm like, oh, you know, like, so they already see it, you know, how passionate I am about it. So it's showing, and I know I'll keep working on my personal development. And I just want to thank you all for, you know, these
awesome,
because it's been helping me.
Yeah, so I love it because, you know, the personal development is such a huge part of what we do. And when we tell people, look, here's your dreams, here's the vehicle to get to them, here's what can happen, and we'll paint a picture, then we got to tell them, look, it's going to take some work to get there. And they realize that. And then you start to realize what Tony said. You see how he sprinkled in different things about what it can do for your body. You know, he told me the other day, he goes, if you take Cleanse for Life every day, he goes, that's how you're going to keep your tendons and everything. If you're lifting, because I go, at 68, how are you lifting that kind of weight? He goes, because I take Cleanse for Life every day. And he talks about the systems. And I love how he says it. He goes, look, there's nothing in this that's going to cleanse your cells. But what it does, it allows the body to cleanse. You know, it gives your body the nutrients that it needs to cleanse things. So sometimes it's learning how to voice what's in our product. And then again, when we go back, we combine our knowledge of what the product does. We combine our ability to be brave and talk to people. And then we have our own story, both physically and financially, that speaks for ourselves. So when you paint this whole picture, then it starts to get easier. Then you're not begging people and you're not finding that adversity, because your mind has the answers for them right away when they say, well, why is this different? Right? And your body speaks for itself. And maybe your what you're wearing or your financial situation. I want to say what you're wearing, because you don't have to have a gold watch to sell this stuff, but certainly you want to project somebody that's successful. You know, you want to project somebody that's on their way. You would never go and get a financial plan from a guy who drove up to you on a scooter. You know, if you and your wife are sitting there and someone's come to talk to you about your retirement policy and how you're going to bank and finance your future, and you're looking out the window, you go, oh, here he comes. Oh, he's driving up on a Honda scooter. Yeah, cool. Okay, I'm going to invest with this guy. You know it. We've got to be a product of the product. Christine, go ahead. Richard.
David, I dislike that you just said that about the scooter, because yesterday I'm trying to connect with an old high school buddy who sells cars, and as I drive by his car lot, he's got the most beautiful little Cadillac SUV parked out front that made me go, that's my car. So I have no intentions of trading my car right now, but I decided it's a great way to get in there and sit down with him for half an hour. So I go in, and the bugger sent me the info last night, and it's so doable, but I'm trying to put it in my head that I don't need a Cadillac. And then you say scooter. So do I need to do and arrive in my dream car and say I'm acting as if? You've ruined my day. Thank you, David. That's all I have to say about that.
You don't have to drive up in a fancy car. You don't have to drive in a fancy car. And sometimes, you know, as I'm growing my beard out and stuff, and I'm thinking, dude, if people are meeting me for the first time, but that's the beautiful part of this, is that you don't have to look a certain way. You know, I hated having to shave and wear a tie every day to go to work. So sometimes that's the part that's going to attract people. You mean I can look however I want, or I don't have to wear a tie, or I don't have to do this? Yeah, that's going to be something that really attracts some people. I mean, I see commercials for razors and blades, and I laugh because I cringe at them. I said, that's not going to be me. I don't want to be the person that has to wake up every day and shave to go to work. Now, some people might not mind that, But you know, Christine, you like to wear baseball caps, and you like to, that's awesome. That should be a way for you to attract people. Is look, you can be whoever you are. You don't have to fall into some type of conformity to be successful at this business. You are your own brand. Mandy, did you want to say something? Mandy, you're on.
Hi,
Okay.
sorry, I couldn't figure out how to unmute.
All right.
What I think it ends in an out, like we're at the hour mark, right? So if it goes over, just let me know. But first of all, I didn't get to hear the whole call, but what I loved about the beginning was he talked about it being definitely a legit industry, and how I think Chicago University introduced it as a graduate class, right?
Yep.
Okay. And what stuck out to me was that it wasn't a mom and pop business anymore. And I've really been kind of going back to the basics on priceofbusiness.com, trying to figure out, like, I don't know, kind of where to restart again. Because I also have been in the business for a while and have not played full out, and have dabbled a little, but haven't really given it a try at all, really. It's more of a hobby. I'll be pretty honest with you on that, as you know. So I was kind of wanting to talk to or open up and see what systems have best worked for people. Like, it's always great to post on Facebook, but like you said, you can't just wait for a like or a post or a comment or something in the mailbox or in your message box. So like, are you guys texting, calling, making appointments? And then when obviously they tell us to lead people to a tool, isamovie.com, or a call. I'm just trying to see like what's really working for everybody, because obviously I love the personal growth, but we're all here with intention to grow our business and make it to the next level. So what has been working, and what are you guys pivoting towards and changing in your business?
I want to call on a couple of people to answer this question, because I follow, not because if I don't say you, it's just because I haven't been seeing you. And if I don't see you, it's because you're not projecting enough. So, you know, I see Judy's transition. I've seen what she's done physically, and she's taking her steps when she first started out doing videos and stuff, and she's actually improved and worked on that. I know that Taylor has done some things where he's been very aggressive in his game plan, because he's more one of those guys that has to have the goals, and he's asked us to physically remind him. He's like, I need you guys to be on me because I work better in that situation. I've seen Jeremy and Allie start to do things where they've talked to people in different places, like in the bank and things like that. And then from Angelique and myself, when we run out of our warm market, which we ran out of a long, long time ago, you got to realize that there's still people that are there in your warm market that are going to come around. But more importantly, as a couple, you have to get out. And I don't say if you're doing this business and your husband isn't on board or your wife isn't on board, or if you're a single person like Logan, you're a single guy. But what you have to do is you have to meet people outdoors, and you have to get their information. That's the simplest part. You don't meet people and say, I want you to do isogenics. You have to make friends. We're in the business of making friends and getting information, and then finding a way to make them ask about it. You know, we have everybody that comes into our life. The guy who got us into this house, the realtor, Angelique starts talking about shakes, and he's doing muscle milk. And she goes, well, let me just make you one of ours. He goes, why? I only eat vanilla shakes. I don't like chocolate. She goes, oh, all I have is a chocolate. She gave it to him anyway. He goes, that's the best chocolate shake I've ever had. And now he's going to order. So you have to turn everybody into a prospect. The hard part is, how do you do that without forcing it on them? And the key is to have a couple good touches to meet them, so they don't feel like you're pushing it on them, and they feel like you're more of a friend first. We're in the business of making friends. That's all. So if Judy or Taylor or any of those other people, and Liz Merritt's another one who I've seen do things and take steps and invest in herself. And I see her posting pictures of her leading an active lifestyle. And I see her before and after that speaks for itself. If she puts her before and after up there, no one's going to be able to say, I'm not sure if isogenics works. They're going to be like, oh my God, it works. Because her story is evolving. All those people, their story's evolving, and they're all different people at different walks of life. You know, I know, Judy, you do this business with your husband, Waylon, but you know, Waylon's one of those persons who's not very he's not one of those guys that you're going to see a lot on the video. He's more supporting her behind the scenes and talking to people, but he's not going to be the one that's out there in the video. So tell me about how that works, Judy.
Yeah, so he's one of those stealth Facebookers. Like, he's all over Facebook, but you'll never see him post anything. So, his struggle, which, a lot of people are like this, if he's someone who doesn't naturally post and he comes out the gate, doing all kinds of stuff, then it's not authentic and real. So he's still, trying to figure that out, but, he's been a real trooper as far as being in my pictures and things like that, so people know that he does exist. But yeah, I mean, it's meeting people where they're at, even if it's your spouse. And as far as Mandy's question, it's not just one way works, because you're working all of your different avenues. So social media is a great one to tap into, but you can't, I don't know, when people say they built 90% of their business on social media, I guess it's possible, but it's like, I don't see how anyone could focus solely on that. So I think it's a combination of being consistent there. David, you always say it, you always have to be evolving. And that's why I'll share, like, if I suck at something. I mean, my very first Facebook Live was like 4 minutes, and it was titled Fear, because I had a fear of doing a live video. And now I do them like nobody's business. Like, I'll be on there for an hour and not think nothing about it. But I think people can relate to, it's not necessarily that they want to see you struggle, but taking them through your journey makes you more relatable.
Yep.
And then, working on putting out your intention, your law of attraction, like Nadia was saying, you never know who you're going to meet. So never use the excuse of, I don't know a lot of people. Like, I personally, I don't have a big circle or a network. Like, most of the time, it's me and Waylon on a consistent basis. So, it's not about like who your circle of friends are, who it's who you're going to meet. Like, we say that all the time. One of my best people, I love her to death, that I met her in the women's bathroom when we started talking about skincare or something, and she's on our team. So you just never know who you're going to meet. You just have to be open to it. And start each day, asking yourself, who can I help today? That's on a sticky note that I look at every day. Who can I help today? Yep. Because you just never know wherever you're going to be. And doing what you do every day, being a product of the product, people are watching whether you realize it or not.
Yep, that's true. I love the fact that she said she met her teammate in the bathroom. Now, how many people can you imagine in a couple of years from now, imagine yourself, every time you go to see somebody, you say, should I talk to that person? Imagine yourself going and just visioning into the future, them on stage going, I would have never had this opportunity had I not met Judy in the bathroom one day and she talked to me. It wasn't someone who was just on her short list. It was someone she met in the freaking bathroom talking about skincare.
Yeah, we were at a track. It was in the middle of the night. It was dark outside. It was just me and her. And she just struck up the conversation. So you just never, ever know. And I wanted to add on to like what Jeremy was saying about not being attached to things, because I would say my word of advice, especially on social media, is expect adversity, expect people to come at you and challenge you. Because I've had a couple of like guys recently who will question me and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm okay with that, because those are the people I'm not trying to attract anyway. And it's not my job to convince them or use all my energy to prove to them what I'm saying is true. Like, you can believe it or not, that's fine. Like, an argument takes two people to be in, and I'm not willing to invest my time in someone and argue with them. So, don't get caught up in the people who challenge you or question or are going to be skeptics.
So that's a good point. And, I love the fact that humility always is very attractive. So if your story's evolving like Judy's, but you remain humble, and that's a beautiful thing. People will notice that. People will say, wow, here's a person that their body's changing. They're doing all these right things, but they remain humble and they have a heart of service. On the way back on the airplane, I watched this show. It's on the BBC. It's called Off the Record. It's the David Hasselhoff show. And it's like a reality show, but it's not. It's a scripted comedy. And he just talks about his career and just clowns on himself the whole time. And it endears you to David Hasselhoff, regardless of what you think about him, because you're like, wow, here's a guy that doesn't take himself too seriously and has the ability to laugh at themselves. And that's what makes people likable. You guys have to be likable and then keep your goals on chart. So Taylor, tell us about how your goals, you're such a goal-driven person, and that's just your style. And there's been times when that scared me. I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I first started talking to Taylor, I'm like, wow. I'm like, you're not going to be able to really force your way into this business. You have to act with love. But, you know, here's a guy that is a goal-driven person who wants to be like freaking whipped and pushed and told, did you have to do that? And that's his style. And it's been very successful for him and Lacey. So tell us a little about your style, what you found to be successful, Taylor.
Well, first of all, I have a huge why. I'm getting married in October to the love of my life. She's on the call. And that's my first why. And my second why is, you know, I was a financial advisor at the #1 wealth management firm in the world. And my parents were happy. Everybody's pride in my family was so, you know, they were so excited. Oh, my son has made it. And it's the same thing you went through with your dad. You know, he was excited about what you were doing in pharmaceutical sales, David, and all that stuff. And then I just wasn't being fulfilled. I was sitting in a cubicle, and it was just, and I hated it. And I started being strategic, saving my money and growing business on the side. And I took a leap of faith. And you know, to be frank and honest, before it really started to hit, I had less than $900 in my bank account with rent coming due when I quit. And I just told myself, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. And like, we have a goal to hit 2-star this week, and we're going to do it because we have to. And, you know, we're supporting a church in Africa, and that's our why. And those kids, those families are relying on us. They don't expect one thing from us, but like, that's our calling, and that's why we're doing this. So we've got to crank it. We have the opportunity. They don't have an opportunity. They wake up and they wonder if they're going to eat. All we have to do is call people and talk to people. Like, this is easy. Like, you know, like, let's put ourselves in their shoes for 1 second. Like, every day of their life is a struggle. Our life is not, I mean, we think our life's a struggle, but it ain't. We're just spoiled. And we need to, like what Shannon was talking about, we need to just slap ourselves in the face. If we need to do a Rocky Balboa, and like, you know, at ICU, they, what's his face, the #1 income earner?
Herb.
87.
Oh, no, you're talking about Jimmy Smith.
Yeah, Jimmy Smith in his Isogenics jumpsuit goes and runs the steps and jumps around, and then he gets pumped up, and then he goes to work. And, you know, that inspired me. But like, I don't know, just find out what goals work for you. I have a why. I have a grandmother who talks to my sister on the side and is like, how are they doing this? There's no way that their parents are helping them or something. There's no way they can make it. Like, network marketing, that's not a real thing. Yeah. And part of me, it's like, we're going to show you that it is real, and you're going to join our team. That's right. And another thing is, I've gotten with Nick Youngblood, and I can send it to all you guys, anyone who messaged me, but I have an Excel spreadsheet with everything calculated. I know exactly what I need, how much BV we need, how much PIBs we need, everything to hit our goal. And when you can put that, for me, if I can see it, I can believe in it, and I can do it. Some people don't need that. But for me, like, I'm like Chris Harder, and that's why I resonate with him, because Chris Harder, you know, he uses the system in his favor. Like, he's cranking out everything. And, you know, maximizing double pivs. It's such a blessing. But yeah, and it's really a way that I can show my support and love of Lacey is taking initiative. And I could say that for everybody. Everybody in this call has probably got someone in their life that by them taking initiative, whether it's Judy taking initiative for her husband so she can bring him home, or, you know, everybody's got a why. So yeah, that's kind of my deal.
Awesome. I love that stuff. See that? I'm so glad you spoke up. And it's funny. We had a guy here yesterday. So we live kind of on a mountain now. So if you live on a mountain, you're going to have critters. I mean, there's a lot of wildlife around here. And a guy showed up yesterday, and he's a trapper. And you know, I'm thinking, I thought the same thing. I almost felt guilty, you know, because here I am in my shorts in a big air conditioned house. And this guy's working his tail off, trapping critters and picking up poop and stuff and setting traps. And like, that's work, you know, He's got to get up every day. Maybe he's passionate about that. I mean, I don't want to assume that he didn't like it, because I mean, he got into that and maybe he's super passionate about that and that's what he loves. But I mean, what Taylor says, this is easy. Making phone calls and keeping your body in shape and talking to people, that's easy. There's a lot of people out there that are busting their ass for $1. So we have to be grateful that we have the opportunity to make a living doing what we're doing. And then, your why's got to be big. It's not always about, like, I felt guilty because I didn't want Christine to think it was about a car. I want people to know that their why is about what is their passion. And Taylor and Lacey want to help children in Africa. And that's what PK's passion is too. PK takes all his money and goes over to Africa and helps these children, and it has a greater purpose. If you want to tithe, if you want to do things, Angelique and I are very passionate about the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And we're going to continue to be passionate about that. We're going to continue to raise money for those kids. This is all a bigger reason of why. So we've gone about 15 minutes over. If anybody's really dying to say one final thing and they can say it in 30 seconds, we can do that. If not, we could wrap it up. I think it's been an awesome Friday, and I want to remind you, best week ever, and take this passion and roll with it.
David.
Yeah, take us out. Go ahead, Lacey.
I just want to say something for what it's worth. But I will say, going along with that, I used to almost pride myself on being so frugal. Like, I was like, I can live in the dirt. Like, I love Africa. I love India. I can live in the dirt. I don't need material things. Like, I really don't need much food. And so I had a very poor mindset until I was challenged by somebody, and I read Secrets of a Millionaire Mindset, but I was challenged by Angelique saying, how much more could you do if you had the funds to provide for these people? That is a wrong mindset, to try to want to get on their level by making yourself worse just to prove that you can do it. So I just want that to be an encouragement for all you guys, and just thinking about the possibilities if you did have more resources. It fires me up when I see a need and I don't have the resources to meet it. Yes, I'm faithful with what I do have, but it is frustrating. Like, it brings me to tears. And so dig a little deeper. I used to not dig so deep about those things. My goals didn't match what I was actually doing. I, want 1 million children. I want to be that house that all these kids just flood in and I'm like their mother, but yet I'm like, oh, I can live on $1 a day. And so just make sure that what you're doing is actually matching what you want.
Awesome. Make sure what you're doing is matching what you want, and it has the ability to take you there. If you want to do great things and you want to make an impact in the world, you can't do it from behind a desk, and you can't do it struggling yourself. So those are all things that are greater than us. And I want to thank you all. And I did record this call, so if you have anyone you think that would benefit from it, I'll post it later on in the group. And I want to say have a great weekend. Like Tony said, if any of you guys need anything at all this weekend, you need us to get on a 3-way call, you need us to reach out to somebody, a new prospect or somebody, please don't hesitate, and have an awesome day. Love you guys.